Hey guys, today I wanted to do a little tutorial on the intuitive flowers that I've been making, and also we can finish up the sketchbook together. So here's an example of the flowers that I've been making, and basically I just plopped some paint down that looks pretty to me, just mix some pretty colors together. Just enjoy the whole watercolor thing of, paint flowing together and just watching the beautiful colors mingle. And then once they're dry, I just go over it with a pen. You can do, let me see an example. Can't even find it. I'll do a flip through when I'm done with it, but, so you can do like a micron pen, right? Or you can do, this is a ballpoint pen. And for a ballpoint pen, you can just literally use the cheapest one you can find. Whatever, it doesn't really, sometimes the cheaper ones work better than the other ones. You just need a couple of paintbrushes, some water, a paper towel or a cloth, some paint, and you don't really need a clip. I literally never use a clip, but this one was right here. And it's the end of the sketchbook, so it's a little trickier. And yes, this is the last page. Like this, I did some swatching here because this page is kind of like a lost cause. And then that's pretty much it. So we're gonna finish my sketchbook together. And once that's done, next video can be a little flip through all my intuitive watercolor paintings. So today I'm using the Gansai Townbei new set, kind of like the additional set that they did of some pastel colors. Here's mine. I've actually been kind of enjoying it, and I used it on a lot of my beginning intuitive flower paintings, so I thought it would be appropriate to finish on that note as well. So here it is, and you know what, just move that out of the way so you guys can see both. And then you just kind of plop the paint down without really caring too much about where it's going or what it's doing. I have a rather large paintbrush, a 12, and I have a 6. And these are both pretty nice. Let's see. So we can start with a large one and just kind of go with whatever colors look nice. Let me make sure it's all in focus. And then I think I'm going to, and you can do different things. You can wet the page and cover the whole page in paint if you want like a background color, or you can just do the actual flower parts. And I'm gonna just then pause the video and let it dry naturally so that you can get some pretty effects that way. I think better than just drying it with like a hair dryer or whatever. So let's do light blue. Let's do a nice pastel sort of feel to it. And then I just basically kind of balance out the page a little bit with like the different colors, and just kind of go for whatever kind of like looks good. And sometimes I cover the page a lot, and then other times I just kind of leave a lot of white space. There's really kind of like no wrong or right way to do it, and it doesn't even need to be planned out at all. You can just do whatever. One thing I like about this palette is that all the colors kind of already go together, so I don't have to like really, I can just use whatever. I don't have to really think about making them match. And you can see I'm not like really giving this like any thought, to be honest. And initially I didn't really do a whole lot in terms of like, once I was done drawing the flowers in, I was pretty much done with it. But now, especially when I have darker colors, I do like to go back in and either lift some of the color for highlights or add some like peachy or white gouache on top for the highlights. Gouache works really well for highlights, even the acrylic gouache. which is pretty much what I'd been using. So let's do some flower-like effects here. Yeah, and if this ends up needing some highlights, I'll show you guys how I do that as well. It just kind of like on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you get a little too much water. And really, like, I don't know if you can tell, but you just kind of like go in and kind of enjoy the process and pick whatever colors look good. Like, you don't, like, just don't even think about it. Don't even worry about what it's looking like. Like, it's almost like all you're doing, like, think of it as like swatching your pretty watercolors and just enjoying how they look. And you know what? Let me add a little bit more pink, because that pink kind of like, let's add a little bit more water to make it more pink. Okay. Okay, I think that's almost just about done. And you want to have the paper towel there so you can like lift back some of the puddles if you don't really like them. So just kind of lift back a little bit of the puddles. Kind of let things blend together. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna let that dry. That first part's done, nice and easy, and I'll be back. Hey guys, I'm back, and you're gonna have to forgive me. I have the new camera setup that I told you about that has the overhead thing. And I thought I was recording this whole time that I was making these flowers, but apparently I was not. So I don't even remember all the stuff I said in that video. I'm gonna have to try to remember all the stuff I was saying. But basically this is how far I had gotten, and then I decided to pause and finish off camera. But so let me give a little update where I started. So I kind of started with the easiest spots, which were these leaves. This green just was sticking out and looking like leaves. And then over here, there was a little watercolor movement transition that looked like the center of a flower. And here was like an empty space that kind of looked like the center of a flower. So I made those two. And then these two areas had like roundish sort of looking blobs. So I put flowers in there. I put some more leaves here where I saw some green. And then this area just kind of spoke to me and looked like a flower. And basically I was saying that it doesn't matter where you start. Just start wherever is easiest. So the easiest place was the leaves because they look like leaves. So I started with that. Then I kind of found other things that look like flowers, and I kind of went for it. Like, you don't have to, you know, go from area to area to area. Like, you can just jump around, do whatever looks the most fun, whatever looks the most easier, whatever's kind of calling to you to, you know, to do it. So, so let me do a few more on camera, and then I can finish off camera and then come back on camera to finish it completely up and add some highlights. I've been using this pastel peach from Turner, which is an acrylic gouache. The white seemed rather harsh, but the peach, I actually used it here, is very nice and kind of goes well with most colors, it seems. Yeah, and I was just saying it's a very kind of peaceful, mellow process where you get to play around with your pretty watercolors, and then you can just kind of sit there and sort of relax and, you know, do whatever. So I think this area kind of looks like maybe some big leaves. So I'm just going to kind of, you know, I wouldn't say pencil in because this isn't a pencil, but, and you can use any pen. This cheap ballpoint pen works well because if you press lightly, you get a nice gray kind of mild sort of line. But if you press more firmly, you get like a much more solid black line. Whereas Micron, it's always a black solid line. The only thing is I've been having an issue with the microns. I'll get a brand new micron, right? And then the nib disappears after I finish one or two of these little 5.5 by 5.5 paintings. So clearly that's not a great deal because microns aren't cheap. So I don't know, does anybody else have that problem? Am I doing something wrong? If you guys know, let me know. I'd really love to figure it out. Like what is going on. Like I don't know if the nib gets worn down because the paper is textured or if it gets pushed in and disappears that way. Like maybe I could grab it with some pliers and pull it back out, or it might just be getting completely worn down and that's where it's going. I have no idea, but it's definitely a problem. And I have been using like the finer microns, so that might be part of the issue. Like the nib's very kind of fine and not very strong. But I don't want the thicker microns because I don't want like a super thick line here. So I don't know what to do. And the other thing I was talking about is for years now, for years and years and years, I've been wanting to do a tarot deck, an oracle deck. I even have like a separate Instagram page for it. I haven't done much there, but it's always been kind of a dream of mine. So I've been thinking of doing these intuitive flowers and making like an oracle deck with it. I have lots of ideas for different prompts, and it could be even journaling prompts. I think oracle cards can be very kind of healing and useful depending on, you know, what you do with them. So, I mean, I think it could give people a lot of value to have a deck like that. I would probably even kind of add some like journaling prompts to each card so that it's not just like, oh, this is what it means, but it's something like, oh, you take it back to your journal and you kind of write about it, you know, and apply it to your own personal life and figure out what it means for you. So that's that flower. And then I think I want another one of these over here. And then I just kind of twist and churn the papers a lot and sort of, you know, just do that way. So let me know what you guys think about this like oracle card idea. And then I want to do a tarot deck as well, but not with these flowers because tarot is very like, it has specific imagery. But I've been making like a lot of art in my other sketchbooks too that are not the intuitive flowers. So I was thinking of using, or not using, but kind of having that art style for my tarot deck. But I would start with the oracle deck because I've been just really enjoying these flowers lately. So I would start with that. And plus I like the idea of like being able to kind of make it my own thing, like pick the words for it, pick the imagery, pick the words, pick the meanings, pick the, like make it like almost like a self-help kind of oracle deck, kind of like a self-help book and an oracle deck. That's what I want to do. I want it to be something that is like super meaningful, super useful, super helpful. So if you guys have any thoughts about that, let me know. I would love to hear your advice, feedback, input. I'm so excited to like get started on that. And I think if I go ahead with it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the whole process, film the whole process on YouTube. So I would probably have to do things like paper auditions, like decide what paper I'm going to use, pen auditions, trying out maybe dip pens with different types of dip pen nibs, different types of inks, trying them out with different papers, you know, just kind of all that stuff. Drawing the card for each. I would probably have like maybe 50 cards in there, and then kind of letting you guys also know what the meaning behind the card is. Maybe even like reading out the you know, the meaning of it. And yeah, so I would love to take you on the entire process with me. So yeah, if you could give me some feedback, that would actually be super helpful, because obviously I've never done anything like that before, but I've been wanting to for so long. And the reason I'm pausing right now and kind of, I'm not hesitating, because it's not that I don't know what I want to do. It's more that there are so many different things I could do. Like, I could make this leaves, or I could make it another flower. Same here. These could be leaves or a flower. So it's not that I'm not sure, you know, what it could be. It's more that I have to pare down my ideas and go with the best one that's going to look the most harmonious. And then this one is just looks like, it really looks like another one of these guys, just kind of like hanging out here with like the way the watercolor kind of line fell. So I just have to kind of do that. I have, you know, and that's what I was saying before too, is that's the way I fill it in. I just go around and I find the ones that I'm like, if I'm not sure if I want this to be a flower or leaves, I don't worry about it. I just leave it alone. And I move on to a different area of the paper that I am more sure about, and that is calling my name in that moment. And then as I go through the whole thing and there are less and less areas left, then the other ones get filled in with whatever kind of balances out the rest of the composition, if that makes sense. And then these like very pale, kind of like this pale area sticking out here has to be something too. Like, I don't want just a pale area just to have it. Like, I want it to be something. Like, I love having like little thingies sticking out. And then if there are areas that I don't know, it doesn't look like a flower, I'm not sure what to do with it, that's fine. Just fill it in with something and make it look kind of like a flower. Like, these aren't flowers, but it can kind of be a flower. It's an alien flower. It doesn't have to be any certain way. And then I have some of these. You know, I don't have any of those here, but here I have like some of that going on. So, yeah. And again, you don't have to worry about messing up. If you mess up on something, like if you're doing it and you're like, oh no, that's way too black, it doesn't really matter, because over here it was way too black, and then you can just go over with your gouache and it will cover it right up. Or like over here, the leaf has like a transition in the middle of the leaf. If you don't like that, on the last step, when you're doing some watercolor lifting for highlights, you can take that out, and then it will be a more harmonious leaf. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm talking about. So really, it's almost impossible to actually mess this up, which is what adds to to the fun. You can just relax, enjoy it, and not worry about messing up. You get to play with your pretty watercolors, you get to just doodle, and then you get like, you know, a result at the end. And it's a really great way to quickly fill up your sketchbook. Each one takes maybe 15 minutes, and some of them are like 45 minutes. So some of them have a bunch of little flowers, so that takes longer. And then some of them have like big flowers, and then that takes a lot less time. Like, you can do one in 10 to 15 minutes. You can kind of limit yourself on time. You don't have to add all the shading either. You can just pencil in the flowers and you're good to go, you know? It can take as long as you want it to take. So it can literally be 10 minutes to an hour, you know? So, okay, stay tuned. I'm going to fill in some more of this so that, you know, I can't really film it and then speed it up because my phone doesn't like this. The screen keeps trying to shut down on me. So once I have some filled in, I'll leave a couple little areas not filled in so we can finish it completely together. And then we'll go in with gouache and a nice firm paintbrush, the kind you would use for like acrylics maybe, and do some color lifting with water, and then maybe add some gouache for highlights too if it looks like it needs it. And then maybe add some branches or some dots, whatever. We'll see what the painting wants. It will tell us. And definitely let me know what you think about the oracle card idea. Okay, thanks. Bye. Hello. Okay, well, I'm back, and this is what we're working with at this point. It's almost all the way filled in, and I wanted you guys to be there for kind of the last of it. So just kind of going around and filling in any empty spots with some background things that are kind of, you know, hiding out behind the flowers that are in the foreground. So this is all background stuff right now. Let's do another leaf here for this one. And we have an empty space here, and that's okay. We can, you know, kind of leave empty spaces there for different things. And for some of these areas, you don't really need to have like super defined, like, oh, this is what's going on there. Like it can just be like the hint of something, like the suggestion of something. Like for a lot of this stuff, it's kind of good enough. Let's do another like little round, sort of roundish flower here, peeking out from the background. And then trying to think if I want to, what I want to do with this situation. You know what? Let's just make it part of that flower too. And just kind of add that in like that. And these flowers, just a dot with some like little lines coming off of it in the center is good enough to suggest a flower. Gives us the suggestion of a flower. And then over here in the background, let's say we have some leaves and stuff or whatever. So that's it. It's all filled in. Certain areas I don't want to fill in too much, so I just kind of like make them a little bit gray. And then there we go. And then, you know what, I'm thinking like this side seems a little bit on balance, like this side is kind of coming out and this side is kind of like flat. So I think I'm gonna maybe add like an empty leaf, and by empty I just mean it's like a leaf outline. Like that, just to balance it out, and maybe another like little one here, I think. Yeah, like another one kind of like this, like a smaller one, almost slightly behind it. Usually I just add branches, but today I felt like doing a couple little leaves. And since we have a couple there, we want to maybe balance it out a bit and add one here too, I think. I think that would look nice. I mean, again, since there are no rules really, you can just add whatever the heck you want. All sorts of different leaves, you know, all sorts of whatever. Maybe have one here too. So I really want to hear from you guys what you think of this intuitive flower idea. And let me tell you a cool story. So I went downstairs when I was filling this in, and I was cooking while I was working on it. And then when I was done cooking, my friend called me, and I was on the phone with my friend, and I was able to just do this while on the phone with my friend and get the whole thing done while talking to her anyways, which you would just ordinarily just kind of sit there and do nothing. And this is just doodling, so it doesn't take up any of your concentration or anything. Like, you can easily continue talking to people. It's kind of the same as doodling while taking notes, and it doesn't mess up your concentration when taking notes. So it's actually a great thing. Like, you can do that while, you know, you can get a whole painting done while talking to a friend. And because you do the watercolors separately from the pen part, if you get out your watercolors and you can go through a bunch of pages, get a bunch of pages filled in with watercolor, and then you have the sketchbook always ready to go. If you're cooking, or let's say you're at work or you're on the phone, you can just pull it out and do the doodling with the pen, and that doesn't require anything messy or anything like that. So yeah, so it's really great for that actually. So I don't want to go overboard, I think, with the clear leaves, but I do want to add a couple more. Let's do a big one here. And you know what else would be interesting if you guys left me a message? If when I was filling this in, or even right now, if you're seeing things like where you would have done maybe different flowers, or you were seeing the same flowers as me. Like, would you have done it the same way, or would you have done it differently? I'm just curious. Or are you kind of like, no, don't ruin it, don't put that there. Like, that ruins it. Now let's do one more here. Peeking out from the background. And again, if you kind of go like this, it kind of rounds out the things and gives the leaf a little bit more shape. Okay. So, and then maybe a little one here. And I'll include, I think, a picture of how this all comes out, like at the end of the video too. And maybe as the video thumbnail, it will be a photo of this situation. So you can see what it actually looks like, because the video coloring might be slightly off. Okay, I think that's enough leaves maybe. Yeah. And then I like to add some stems so the flowers aren't just kind of like floating there. Add some like nice little stems. And then maybe another stem that's kind of going this way. Yeah. And please, guys, if you get a moment, let me know what you think of my oracle card idea. I'm like super excited about it, but at the same time a little bit hesitant, because it's, you know, it's a big commitment. But I have been wanting to do it for like so many years that I'm thinking like maybe it's time to actually do something about that. So, and then, you know what, I think I want like another one kind of going this way. And the branches are usually kind of like squiggly, and so kind of like that. I think that kind of makes them look a little bit more branch-like. And then maybe another one over here, just like a little delicate sort of situation. And then maybe, let me think, let me see what else I want. Maybe another one here. And since I already have a couple dots that I splattered here, I am gonna add some more just to kind of like go along with that theme. Not too many, just a little bit of like, yeah. The painting kind of just tells you what it wants, you know. The only thing you do have to be careful about if you're using this ballpoint pen is that it does smudge. I've smudged a lot of stuff. So if you're concerned, you can always just use like a piece of paper or whatever. Because I've definitely smudged things around before. So. A little bit like that. I think maybe. Okay. So I think maybe like that. Okay. No, wait. No, I want one. I want like a bigger dot. There. Okay. Now we can get to the part where we do some highlights. And like, let's say, I mean, ordinarily I might leave this green blob, but for video's sake, let's say I don't like having this green blob here. Well, guess what? You know, if you have okay paper or good paper, this isn't cotton paper. This is just regular kind of watercolor paper. It's got some cotton in it. So it's not the greatest paper. And these aren't the highest quality watercolors, but they still lift out. If you have high quality paper and high quality watercolors and are careful, let's say, not to use super staining colors, you can easily lift out the highlights. They'll just come right out. Excuse me. Let's say I don't like those, whatever was going on there. Can do that. So I'm going to do some of that. I'm going to cough and I'm going to come back. Hold on. Okay guys, I'm back. I have a stash of cup drops. I think I have a little cold, but I'm just kind of ignoring it and carrying on like nothing's happening. But yeah, it is what it is, you know. So I'm holding onto the pen because sometimes when you lift out the paint, it also lifts out the pen somehow. So I'm gonna wanna go back in and add some of the lines. And you could just wet the area and then dab it with a paper towel. But if you have a firm enough brush, then you can just do it with the paintbrush. You don't need the paper towel. And then that way you have a little bit more kind of control over it. Like I said, this paintbrush, well, I hope I said it. I'm not sure if that was the lost footage or not. But this paintbrush is for acrylics. It's just a super cheap Simply Simmons from Michaels acrylic brush, level 1 beginner. But I love these brushes, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see that. Hold on, let me. It's actually very soft. So, but also very firm. So it's not like a hog bristle brush that's not soft. Like this one is soft. Oh, hold on, let me see if I can change where the zoom is. Okay, there we go. Okay. So I wanted to kind of come back for this part just to make it very clear how I go about it. And sometimes when, you know, if there's a tiny tinge of green here now because I went right from green to there, but that's okay because to me that creates kind of a more harmonious, multi-layered sort of look. And over there, I just took out some of the pink that had become part of this flower. And again, in the beginning, when I first started doing these, I didn't do any of this. So if this part is not fun to you guys, don't do it. I'm only doing it because I enjoy doing this part. And then here I'm just cleaning up the edges of like where the watercolor went out from the leaves by basically erasing the watercolor. I think my main point here is that this is supposed to be fun and relaxing. So only like do the parts that are actually fun and relaxing to you. For me, the drawing with pen part is kind of more sort of fun and relaxing than, let's say, this part, but I do enjoy this part and I like the result that I get when I do this part. Like I like kind of it looking a little bit more precise. And then this paint is kind of a little opaque in some ways, which, let's say, I don't necessarily enjoy as much. So I'm going to go in and kind of, you know, lift out the opaqueness from some of the flowers. Okay. And, you know, it's kind of like a peaceful, meditative sort of thing. You know, you just kind of sit there and you can watch TV, you can be on the phone, you can be talking to someone in person, you can be, you know, cooking, whatever. And just do this kind of like on the side. And you can do a couple minutes here and there because there's nothing to really remember or keep track of because you kind of just do it as you go along. There's no like pre-planning. So you can just sort of like come and go and then, you know, find a couple flowers, then come back later, find a couple more flowers. It's very versatile that way. Very kind of flexible. Let me know if you guys like this result. Let me know. Well, let me know if you want to try it. I'll link my Instagram. So if you guys try it and post it somewhere or even your YouTube channel, definitely tag me so I can see the results as well. And then also let me know if you think, if you like just the general result of how it looks and you think it would be, you know, make for a cool, let me see, make for a cool oracle deck. And here, you can just put it into like a little palette. And I had a palette, I don't know where it went though. That's not the palette. But anyways, I had a palette here, but I don't have it right now. But, or you can just do it like right out of the tube. That's like even easier in some ways. And then let's say I want to add it to like the centers of the flowers a little bit, right? Like that. And then just as an extra highlight in some areas too. And then I think I was gonna add the pen back in, but I'll just do that after after this part, because this might take off some more of the pen. So, and then there was an area I didn't like this area got too dark, so I'm just gonna kind of fill it in. And then like that. I think it just adds like a little extra element. And because it is kind of like a peachy color, it definitely makes for a nice kind of highlight. And then over here, where it feels a little too blobby, I can go back in with a wet brush and spread it out. Even though it's acrylic wash, you have plenty of time to reconsider and come back in and blend it out more if you want. Like, it doesn't dry fast enough to where, you know, it just dries and then you're stuck with it. Let's see, I put some there, and then maybe some there, just to kind of balance out the colors as well. Okay. Does this look fun and relaxing to you guys? And the other thing you can do, I shared this in another video, but if you have kids or family or friends or whatever that aren't really artists or into art that much, but they're kind of curious about this or want to, you know, sort of participate in your art because they love you, here's what I did. So my daughter did the watercolors for this one, and I think she did one more. Was it this one? It was this one and this one. So she put the watercolors down for this one, and then she put the watercolors down for this one, and then I went in with pen and micron, or no wait, this was some kind of thicker pen. I went in and then I finished it off, but she had fun playing with the watercolors. And I didn't do anything on the backs because she wants me to take them out, and these sheets are perforated, so I can just take them out for her, and she wants to put them on her wall. And it's, you know, or you can leave it in your sketchbook as like a nice memory of something that you guys, you know, shared together. So many fun things you can do with this that are, you know, just really neat. Like, the more I do them, the more I want to do them, and the more things I come up with of things I want to try. Like, I want to try these flowers in metallics on black paper, or I want to try these flowers on tone paper where I do a lot of the highlights, and a big focus is the highlights. I want to, like I said, try dip pens. Yeah. So I don't know if it was this video or the video that that didn't record, but I was saying, if I do the oracle cards, I want to do the whole process here where I do like try out different papers, try out different pens, different ideas, talk about the actual cards and the meanings behind them. Like, I would, let's say, you know, write the meaning of the card out, and then as I'm doing the painting, read out the meaning for it, so you guys know exactly what's coming in the deck, with like obviously like a few surprises too. But anyways, yeah, so those are just some things I've been thinking about. It's super kind of like new, and it would just be nice to hear some feedback as to, you know, how you guys would feel about me posting more videos of my oracle deck creation journey. And there is an artist on YouTube. She's in Canada, and I forget her name. I might have to put that in the video description, where she does abstract sort of art, and she's creating an oracle deck, and she really inspired me. She has great videos. I suggest you guys check her out. She's like newer to YouTube, but she really inspired me to get back on track with my oracle thing idea, because like I said, I've been wanting to do this for years and years and years and just never like did anything about it. But she's creating an oracle deck, and seeing her like working on it, I was like, what am I doing? I need to like, you know, do this. Like, this is, you know, what I've been wanting to do. So, and I will link her name below. Okay. So I think that's that. And I just finished my cough drop, so I'm gonna pop another one in so I don't go on a coughing fit at the very end of this, where I'm trying to just finish up with like, these are the lines that I lost while I was doing highlights, and I'm just putting them back in. And like I said, there was a dark area here I didn't quite appreciate, so guess what? I just wiped it out. No big deal. Yeah, I'm just trying to find where I lost the lines. I don't really know. I don't really see where that might have been the only area. If I see, and sometimes, you know, like I'll look through them and I see things like that I missed or whatever, and then I'll go ahead and do it. Or I'm like, oh, it needs an extra dot here. I'll just go ahead and put it in. I don't care if the date on the thing is that, oh, I made it, you know, last week or whatever. Like if I see something and I feel like doing it, I just do it. Whereas, actually, like typically I wouldn't. I just kind of like to leave my art as it is, as kind of a reminder of where I was at a certain point. And even here, I'm not going to go back and add highlights to all the older ones that didn't get highlights. I'm just going to move on. Okay, I think I'm about ready to call this one done. And just add that. Just needed something, a little bit something there. Something delicate and fine. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can. So that's basically the result. That's the whole thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Obviously a lot more videos coming up. I've been on YouTube for, gosh, I don't even know. I mean, it's been forever. I started out with like sharing all my scrapbooking videos, and I was on scrapbook design teams and all that. So I did that for a while, and then I was doing live dolls and art. So I've been on YouTube quite a while. I've been posting irregularly in the past, but I think as I'm working on the Oracle deck, there's going to be a lot of content of me working on the actual deck that I could be, you know, sharing with you guys. Like I said, I got this overhead tripod that attaches to the table to make it possible to do tutorials and process videos such as this one. So if you're interested, definitely let me know. Like I said, like, comment, and subscribe, but most importantly, please comment and share your thoughts and feelings. Thanks, guys. Bye.